Will, do you know why I'm the greatest board player alive?
Because you
Because I totally bluffed the shit out of you. Hey guys!
Hey!
Cool intro, huh?
Yeah, shout out to Randy. Am I right?
That was pretty cool. Oh wait, hold on. Let me do my thing.
Oh.
Oh my god. Wow!
We'll let this guy into the
Holy
booth.
shit!
Oh,
Guys!
we got a chat.
We're here!
It's your favorite Survivor Now show, StockWatch.
It's the best Survivor Now show. Everybody, welcome back to Survivor StockWatch. I'm Jack, as always. With me, as always, unfortunately, is Will. Will, how you doing, bud?
Pretty good.
Good. Like to hear that. Now, do you like Survivor? I've heard that show's all right.
Is that show still on, man? I remember that show, summer of 03. You know, I graduated.
Back in my wee day, I graduated from college in like summer of 2002, and I heard about the show Survivor, and I was like, what the heck is that?
I know, like, is it still on? Like, wow. I wonder how cool the show is. I wonder if they have, like, you know, Richard Hash playing again, you know, or Boston Rob playing as 20th.
Not if the IRS gets it. No, actually, if you look to the right, like right there, you can actually see it says Survivor 45.
You are pointing at the wrong direction, my boy.
Pointing this way, right at the screen.
Don't.
Okay. All right.
So 45.
Yeah, so we feel old. We're all old at this point. 23 years the show is going on. And my good grief, we are on Survivor 45. And now it's our first full StockWatch season. Will, how do you feel?
I feel great. If you don't know the true lore behind StockWatch, basically, Randy, he messaged me one day and he's like, hey, do you want to do a Survivor StockWatch? I'm like, absolutely. And then he puts me in a group chat with Jack 5 minutes before the podcast, and he's like, all right, here you go. And that was in the middle of the last season. You know, we had a good time. And then, you know, we did a little bit of Cambodia, and we do the Big Brother recap. So now me and Jack, we're now buds. We are now tried and true co-anchors here for the StockWatch.
We're truly at home.
We're at home now. I'm excited to see how, you know, we start out and how our predictions are, how our crackpot theories last. Off the bat, I want to say real quick too that we're going to make quite a few references to the Survivor Now fantasy draft. It's not the bracketology one; it's the one with all.
We will. We will.
So yeah, Jack, who were your 3 picks?
My 3 picks in order were Kendra, Katura, and Jake.
Yeah, and I picked Sean and Kelly, and due to circumstances, I did not get a 3rd pick.
Are you sure about that? Because I beg to differ, because if you want to take a look at the next slide, you can actually see someone that you picked first as grayed out. Now, if you see someone that's grayed out on the as Survivor Castaway, doesn't that mean they're out of the game?
Yeah, you know, we lost Hannah Rose. She, you know, quit the game due to some issues. She didn't realize the intensity of Survivor. However, I'm fortunate enough to not have drafted Hannah, especially not when I had the 2nd pick.
Oh, look at you.
Especially not because of having a mutual friend with Hannah. That did not happen. So, but Hannah Rose. Quick retrospective, I feel bad for her in the sense that social media is awful, right? We can agree on that. But, like, you put yourself on Survivor, and you're like, oh, wow, this is Survivor. Like, she's a super fan. She should know how intense, especially new school Survivor is. You know, like, there's not a lot of food. pretty rough conditions, not as bad as like the first few seasons, but like Survivor is real. And I think Hannah lost that memo. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I think any denying that Survivor isn't real after this episode, every season I see comments of this is just fake. Like, this is just some stage stuff, starving on an island, sleep deprived, energy gone. That's not real. They feed them, they brush their teeth, they do all the stuff.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Like, you see it with Hannah, and you see it with some others that we'll talk about, but Survivor is very, very, very real. And I think that until you get on the island and experience it for yourself, you're never going to know that it's real. And I think Hannah is now the poster child for that. Yeah. And I think that this is going to be a statement, and I hope it is, because I think that, a lot of people are outraged, and rightfully so. I mean, Hannah seems great, but at the same time, a lot of people can go on and say that they would not do what Hannah did. They would stick it out. It's their dream. They would do it. Your body might give out on you. Your mind might give out on you. Your will might give out on you. So, it's no joke. It's no joke. And Jay agrees with me. Thank you, Jay.
I also agree. I think it's less so your mind giving out on you. It's just physically, right? Like, we've seen players exhausted all the time, but they still keep strong mentally. I think Hannah, she was going through nicotine withdrawals, and I think she just wanted that escapism. She wanted that vacation. She wanted to go on TV, love Survivor. But, like, I feel like she would have been a lot better on Big Brother. I think she had a quirky personality. I think she was kind of out there, not Carolyn-esque, but, like that kind of archetype. I think that would have done really well on Big Brother. Maybe a crackpot theory. She was supposed to be on Big Brother, but production, swapped her over. I don't know. We've heard stories like that before with Rob's sister, But it's like, at the same time, too, you signed up for the show. And so it's like, I can't feel bad when you're experiencing the show that you signed up for. It's not like an external problem happened where it's like she got injured in a challenge or she got injured somewhere else or whatever. It's just starvation. It sucks.
It's will. It's all about the mind. And I think what's really unfortunate about this as well is that, in my opinion, Hannah was in a pretty decent position. And I mean, if she wasn't wanting to quit a lot of the time, if she wasn't wanting to, if she wasn't publicly outing that she wanted to go and that she wasn't feeling comfortable, I mean, genuinely, I think she's in a fine position. And I don't, physically she might, she's better than someone else we'll talk about on that tribe. So she's got at least 2 rounds to stay. And go ahead and dump the water here, Emily, Brandon, and Hannah get together and vote for Caleb, Hannah's good. Hannah's not going home. So it's really, really, really unfortunate because while she wanted to quit this whole time, her positioning was actually pretty good.
I will say it was confirmed in an interview. I forgot which one. Emily was going to go if not for Hannah's boot. That was confirmed. Jay, I don't know about Brandon. Also, I want to say I think she was quirky. I just think that due to how the episodes are portrayed, there's only like 45 minutes. And like they have to show her like quitting, but like she's talking about like energy levels and whatnot. Like that's pretty out there. I don't know. She's also from Baltimore, and I know a friend of hers who isn't that. She's also unique. I love her one friend. Shout out to Mackenzie Evans. Anywho,
Hannah. I personally wish Hannah seems great. I personally wish we had someone else get on the season and play. But it is what it is. Lesson learned. And let's all move on.
Yeah.
So let me introduce how we're going to do this season, because this is different. This is not the same old stuff. No. Me and Will are actually going to have different opinions sometimes. Yeah. Usually we have similar opinions. But sometimes we're going to have pretty different opinions. And so for the first episode only, we're just going to have these tables here. But for the second episode, we're going to add on to the table, make it a little smaller. And then we're going to show the graphs that we did last season. We're gonna show our journeys and how we view them over time. So it's gonna be a real good rivalry, the real home state versus state school kind of deal. We've been quarreling. So we'll see how we do tonight. But let's start with Brando. We're gonna go alphabetically, tribe by tribe. We're gonna start with the blue tribe. So Brando's main content, only content, came from Sweat or Savvy. And in my opinion, it's a way to get us introduced to Brando. And this is more of a ranking of he is not bad, he's also not good. Like, when you get your edit based off a situation like that, chances are it might not work out for you. Chances are you're not going to go as far. You're not going to be as important. And Brando was important to Sweat versus Savvy, or Sweat or Savvy, whatever. He was important to that. It was really important to the rest of the storyline of the episode. And so to me, he's just kind of coasting in the middle right now, and I think I'm more than fine with that.
Yeah, I think the one thing I will bring up real quick is one of the biggest indicators that we've talked about on previous StockWatches for being really important in the end game is having both strategic and personal content in the first episode. Brando just didn't have a lot of content. I do agree. I think it's just very middling right now. I feel like he could build up a case later on and be like a bigger presence later, or maybe a snarky confessional player, narrator, or maybe just going out early pre-merge. It's hard to say. He's just very neutral right now,
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. I mean, this is like very, very standard with Survivor. This is common trope. You have the character who gets some situational content. He's going to do decently. I don't think he's going to immediately be forced into over-the-top -5 next episode unless something crazy happens.
You never know.
He's just on a normal trajectory. And Jay brings up something interesting. Let's bring you up here, Jay. Yeah, I mean, Edgic can definitely be broken. Gabler is a stark example of that. Erica was found out as the winner round final 8, final 7. Marianne was found out a little bit earlier. Gabler was never found out. And then Jam Jam was figured out pretty early. It's really, really tough. I'm never going to say that Edgic is broken, though, because it's a system, and the system is new, and the system – there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of variety with Edgic. We have had winners like Fabio, who comes out of nowhere, or Bob that comes out of nowhere. We had winners like Vesepia and Danny. We've also had Boston and Rob win the game. Kim Spradlin win the game.
Tom Westman.
Yeah, the editing is always different. And so we assume that the golden edit is going to win every single time. It might not. It didn't with Gabler.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because we're trying to understand the why, right? Because Survivor is a narrative. It's a story, right? It's trying to tell us something. And so we're not trying to sit here and be like, oh, this player, one player said something good about this player. That means that they're winning the game 100%. It's more of a, in seasons past, this is what happened. And so that's letting us to believe that this is going to happen this season. However, if not, then these players also have good content for this reason, right? It's not just focusing on like the top 4. That's why we're looking at everyone and kind of giving scenarios on how they can have a journey, what they might be like, and whatnot. And
I think in hindsight, a lot of people recognized how Gabler won and saw the moments where he really took charge and kind of won the edit of the game. Because the whole season, everyone was thinking Jesse was going to win. Jesse is going to win the game. He's got the perfect edit. He's going to win the game. He didn't. He got 4th place. He would have won and made it to the end, but he didn't. And so I think we have to be more careful of that, for sure. I think we have to understand more than ever with Edgic. It's not about the script that you get. It's not about the paper. It's about the real story and the real interactions you're making. What's the traits that has been building up? And I think we should talk about traits. because we got some for Bruce.
Yeah.
Hi, Bruce.
This is the first time we disagreed, but like we also didn't disagree too heavily.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the rankings, it's like 1 through 5 is in their own tier. Bruce and our next person are interchangeable. Jake, we swapped positions, so we pretty much agree on why Bruce is this low or middle of the pack. But Jack, what are your reasons?
It was very clear with this episode that this isn't the same old Bruce. The Bruce we saw in 44, super positive, over the top happy, horrible injury, just overwhelmingly positive. This, not so much. Bruce was undermined by Emily. Emily's a whole thing, but Bruce, Bruce was also undermined. And to be honest, I don't think he did a great job. And going back to camp, his clear intention was, I'm going to be the crazy drunk uncle that everybody loves. But he really quickly turned into the dad. And, it's pretty clear to me when you have that intention of wanting to do something and then something else happens.
Yeah.
Chances are you're kind of screwed. In my opinion, for Bruce to win this season, this had to be a comeback, great edit start. And this had to be a cookie cutter season for Bruce. I'm talking a great rating at the beginning, fades away a little bit, and then comes back. That's the edit Bruce needed. And that's not the edit Bruce got. And in my opinion, he's riding right along that wave of, that's tough to rate Bruce. That's tough to rate him.
Yeah, because I agree with Jay. I think he did well responding to Emily. The problem was more late when he got back to camp because, again, he's wanting to be the crazy drunk uncle that everyone loves, but he's also being the leader. And it's okay for Bruce to step up and be the leader. He's been on the island before. He can give direction, and people will respect that. But you can't say immediately, all right, guys, not the leader. However, the only thing I will say about Bruce is that I could see a story of him struggling throughout the season and that leading that to win, right? Where he's like, maybe he's on the bottom of his tribe right now, but he has like a stroke of luck or something, right? Kind of the inverse of the last season where bad luck got him out of the game. I feel like good luck can take him far. That is the only other narrative for Bruce outside of him having this crazy big comeback story. And he still could have a comeback story. I'm not completely sold on Bruce as the loser or winner. That's why I kind of have him right in the middle along with Brando and our next person.
Yes. Shall we get to him?
Yeah.
Hi, Jake. Me and Will literally swapped for this one. My opinion, Jake just had it a little bit better because I think he connects to one of the weirdest season themes I think I've ever seen, and that's being a lawyer. It's being a lawyer. That's one of the real season theme is revealing your real identity or playing a fake. We see people it's the classic move. I'm a lawyer, but I'm telling everybody I'm a DJ. Hi, Bowie Jane. I'm a super smart technician, but I want to say that I'm just a fashion designer. There's so many things that people could say they are. In this season, it's become really clear. And one of the dynamics with Jake and the next person we'll get to is that exact thing. Revealing who you are and hiding it. Jake revealed it. And it's not going so great for Jake. He's been said, hey, I'm going to be a target. Or he's been, people have been talking about him about being a potential target. Yeah. So it's, right now, unfortunately, he's losing that battle. And so that's why he's at 9. Because otherwise, I think his stuff's fine. It's a little worse than Brando because of that reason of being a target. But I think it's fine. And I think we get enough from Jake in this episode to where I could see him doing pretty decent. So that's good for my draft. Hooray.
I want to say real quick, Jake kind of reminds me of you, Jack. I don't know why. It's just the way he comes across. I don't know. When I was watching the episode again to do the rankings, it reminded me of you. I feel like Jake's biggest problem right now is that he is honest about being a lawyer. and he got stranded with people who are afraid of lawyers. I feel like honestly, you get to a point in the game where it's like you can say you're a lawyer and it's not going to matter. It's just day one when you say that, it's easy for everyone else to be like, hey, Jake and Jack, Drew. It's easy for people to be like, oh, he's a lawyer, so that means he's this, and this, and people can take advantage of that. And that's what we saw had they gone to tribal. So I don't know how Jake can recover and win. I think Jake could be a bigger voice down the line and like kind of play up into like a villain. Exactly, Jay. That's exactly what it is. And
Exactly.
it's funny how it's happening all over again.
Yeah, I agree. However, I think with this, Jake has a little bit more longevity just based on the substance of his edit this time.
Sure.
You got to talk about his perspective a lot more than Brando did on Sweat versus Savvy. So we'll see how it goes. But now, oh boy, it's time to get into number one.
Yeah.
The exact opposite of the coin, hiding your identity, is what Katura did. And Katura, if you want to talk about a cookie cutter start, a perfect start,
This is it.
it's Katura. This is it. This is what you want. And this is exactly what I was looking for. I'm looking for someone this season to embrace that theme, someone who embraces the themes of the season. And Katura does that. And Katura has a great edit on top of that. Explains some strategy, like all around, just bang. Just perfect premiere for me.
To me, she has the three best qualities of an edit, which is the narration, right? We see a funny moment with her confronting Jake about being a lawyer. We have her being a lawyer and how that's apparent to the game. And then we see her strategy, right? We see the women of the tribe start to link up. You know, we see, who was it? Kendra, who pointed Jake as the target. And we saw how Katora, responded to that. We saw just enough of Katora to where I think she has a very good edit or a very cookie cutter edit. My only concern is that it is too good. It's kind of like Carson last time.
Yep.
That's the only concern.
That's a big concern. That's a big concern with every single person.
Yep.
We've seen very often that it doesn't matter what premiere you get at this point. A premiere, you need some kind of thing, but you don't need a lot. Erica had next to nothing. Marianne was insane. Gabler had a ridiculously weird episode. Jam Jam had a pretty good episode, but so cookie cutter ain't gonna cut it sometimes.
No.
And I'm worried for that. She's one of my draft picks, but I do see longevity for her for sure because I see genuinely good strategy. If she can cool down, she can just have one nice little confessional doing some narration. I'm going to keep her at number one because I think it's maybe too good to be true, but I'm okay with that for now. I'm okay with that
for now. Buy the stock.
Buy the stock for now. We'll get to that later. Next, the second K of the Blue Tribe is Kelly. I have Kelly in a good spot. I think she had a decent episode.
Yeah. I think there's value when everyone else is saying names and being charging the direction. I think taking it easy and assessing everyone socially on a social level, I think that's very strong. And that's what Kelly did, right? She talked about Kendra. She kind of talked about her own position. She didn't have the greatest intro package of her being like, oh, I'm this, and so that's going to help me with this. But she was in conversations. She was in the right conversations at the right times, and she's observant. And that's a good attribute that I feel like is kind of in the new school mold, right? Like with Erica and 41, where being quiet is a good trait to have. And I'm happy with my draft pick.
This was actually your one good draft pick of the fantasy draft. I couldn't agree more. Kelly is someone that is in the basically the only alliance on that tribe, the top alliance of that tribe. Very, very observant. And I think Kendra is a very loud personality. Is going to take a lot of that heat. And that could go one of two ways. Kendra could definitely be the target in that, or Kelly could, because she's too quiet. And she's too in the background, maybe pulling the strings. So we'll see. But I definitely think Kelly's got some longevity for her edit as well. And we go to the third K. Hi, Kendra. Kendra was the 100% over the top.
Yeah.
She's not over the top of my Edgic. We'll get to that.
Personality-wise.
But personality, she's definitely the most over the top out of the three. But she has another great premiere, and I think far and away, while we don't see a lot of women's alliances work out on Survivor or really any reality TV show, unfortunately, I don't know if this one's going to work out. But I do think beyond that, the three girls of this alliance are playing great, and they're in the best spots overall coming out of this episode.
Absolutely. I think Kendra's over-the-topness is a trait. I kind of convoluted after I just said Kelly was the exact opposite. But the reasons why Kelly worked is kind of the same reasons why Kendra worked. Because when you're over the top like that, it makes people drawn to you, right? And we kind of saw this with Carolyn last time. I know Carolyn didn't win. However, people were drawn to her and drawn to her energy. And that's important for developing social bonds, social relations. And that is key to just doing well in any game, especially Survivor, right? Right.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting because this is a point. Sometimes you see the smaller dogs, right? The smaller, the more nuanced, quiet players in the alliance go after the big, loud player in the alliance. Happens all the time. Could it happen this time? I don't know. Very well could. But I think it's way too early to tell. I think we're in the honeymoon phase. They all have September birthdays. I think we're in the happiness phase. They just went to Aruba. They're sitting on the beach, enjoying the sun. If we see some cracks next episode 3, then it's a serious point to bring up. I agree. But I think right now, we're chill. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think if this tribe goes to tribal, I feel like if they go to a lot of tribals, if they implode, then I see that. I don't think Kendra would be the first boot from this tribe, though.
I do not as well.
And I'm sure the two quieter players are more wise to just turn on their allies for the sake of turning on their allies.
Yep.
Which
absolutely
happens in New School Survivor, unfortunately. Anywho.
Unfortunately. Shift gears.
Yeah.
We're going red.
Yes,
we're going Austin. Listen, Austin is if you are in the bracketology fantasy, first of all, you're doing the bracketology thing, listen to this. The fantasy outlook from Randy is great, but you want the in-depth. You want to make sure you get that Funko Pop, the buff, all that. Listen to this, because we got some good reads. Austin is the guy that's going to get you a lot of points. He's a guy who's going to get you a lot of points every episode. He's a likable guy. He seems pretty trustworthy, finds an advantage. He's going to obviously be winning a lot of challenges because he's a pretty physical guy. I think Austin's the one you want to put. He's like Christian McCaffrey. He's someone you want to put in your lineup almost like every week, unless he's injured. But this isn't football. This is Survivor. So put Austin in your lineups every week. And that speaks to how he's doing. He is a very well-balanced character. He is mainly centered about the around the Beware advantage, which I'd like to take this time to talk about. This is fun. This is bringing back classic go find the clues around the island type stuff. This is the go find the landmarks, go figure out the puzzle. A little bit more fun, and it's bringing that speed and impact of the Beware advantage into it. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I feel like New School Survivor and Big Brother players, they're quick to just bash on production at every which way. Outside of casting Hannah, I think they did really well this episode. I feel like the only thing I will say, this is unrelated, but I have a crackpot theory, right?
Oh, here we go.
Austin is getting 8th place on Survivor 45.
Wow. The 8th place. 8th place is a club. That's a pretty prestigious club.
That is why. Because Austin, he's going to find idols. He's going to play the game. he's likable, he's sociable. Final 8, everyone's like, all right, guys, pack it up. We got to send Austin to his club, to this Final 8 club. I feel like as of right now, I'm looking at the board. I feel like Austin is the go-to. He's like Noel in 43. He's like High in 42.
He's like Franny last season, and he's especially like Shan. Shan, big, like the biggest player on 41. And well, I don't think Austin's going to be the most flashy and most over the top. Maybe definitely not villainous. I don't see like any genuine like coolness in Austin. I think he's going to be personally. I think he's going to be a fan favorite. I think he's going to do well. And I think Jay he might slide to 5th place. I don't think he wins. Unless he comps out. But he is a very likable guy, and I definitely think he's going far. So lock that in.
Lock it in.
Everybody's so high on D. Like they're fawning over it. Like D's got to win the season. D's gonna win the season. Like, look, guys, one episode, okay? We had one really great introduction to D. Pretty brief, under the radar. She's good. She's not number 1, but we rated her pretty high. I mean, D's definitely got those traits of a winner. It's now a matter of what else do we see, because she's a pretty big unknown. We want to see how she interacts with her tribe. We want to see the things she's doing, more specifically. We like D. We think D's got a good shot, but we need more.
I feel like D's weird because it's like everyone's so high on D to where it's like I want to be high on D. I want to know, what everyone's fawning over, and it's like I kind of see it, right? The problem is, I feel like there's other players that are doing better. Think of a player that's coming right after this. Think of Katora. I think honestly, I have Kelly a little higher. Kelly in the same spot as D for you.
You have Kendra hanging out right there.
I have Kendra hanging out right there. So it's like I feel like she could evolve, right, and be a lot better. But as of right now, it's like it's almost there. I just want a little more.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think D's gonna do good this season. I think she's gonna be doing great on her tribe. As for a genuine strong point scorer in your fantasy, maybe. I don't know. But she's definitely someone to watch out for. What kind of player do you see her as? Good question, Phil. I see heavily social. I'm going to bring up your next point as well. I see heavily social. I think she's someone that's going to definitely play. She's not going to play like a mob boss, I don't think. She's going to play a very savvy kind of cutthroat social game. Will hit me with an example. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Cutthroat social game? I have no idea, man. What do you think I am?
Database. Come on.
Not Tony Vlachos, right? Or like maybe like Trish from Kagiyan.
I like Trish.
Social, kind of the social part of Tony's game. Thinking of like Kagiyan, right? I think D personality wise is going to be kind of like no BS, because we kind of saw with how she talked about Sifu and all that issues, and she's like, yeah, I'm a firecracker, but I gotta hide it, that way Sifu can sink his own ship. I like that a lot because it's showing restraint. I think that's a good part of these games. I think that's part of why people aren't so high on her, because she's showing that she is a little fiery. Right?
Michelle. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Especially factoring in the challenge. Michelle is very, very over the top in the challenge. So bringing that in, mixed with Michelle's gameplay from Survivor, totally see it.
That's
Let's move on.
Again, Tony Vlachos. I was thinking of what is the word for it? Drew.
A little bit. Hi, Drew. Drew had another great premiere, and I mean, this is the kind of premiere you want to see. You want to see someone talk about their personality and how it's going to factor into the game. Drew is Drew Basile. He's Drew the nerd, and then he's Basile the frat boy. And it's stupid and corny, but it works, and it's a good enough intro to where he is very, very high. Now, longevity's sake, I don't know. He could definitely be seen literally by appearance as Cochran, as any typical nerd player who does really, really well. We don't know. So we're going to have to see what happens. Are we going to see a little bit more Basile come out? We're going to see a little bit more cockiness and the Red Tribe turn into a frat house? Or are we going to see a more reserved and calculated Drew?
I was wrong about Jake. Drew reminds me of Jack as well. Because
Excuse me.
Come on, you're a giant nerd. Anywho, I feel like, again, this is kind of similar to how the reason why I have Kelly so high is kind of the reason why I have Drew so high, because it's showing adaptation, right? He's like, hey, yeah, I'm willing to go into any sort of social setting. I could be any kind of person. I have these two very clashing personality types, and I can show them to the right people, right? I don't know if his poetry will get him to the final three. However, my main concern with Drew is that he's a nerd. And nerd archetypes have been doing really well in reality TV. And we kind of saw this with Big Brother. We had two nerd winners back-to-back with Ian and Steve. And that pretty much cursed every nerd until this season of Big Brother, to where every nerd was kind of ousted as another Steve, another Ian. I know that these players don't know season 44, right? Do they know have they seen season 44? How does the filming work? I feel like
you can case that Carson. You can easily make the case that Carson, Survivor nerd, big time, and Carson made it very, very far.
And we see anytime there's a nerd player, especially in the 30s, they were known as another Cochran. And so I feel like when it's down the line, when numbers are dwindling, people will look at Drew as, no matter what, he's going to be a strategic leader, right? Doesn't matter if he's a social player or a comp beast, he's going to be known as some kind of strategy guy, and that's my concern with him down the line. As of right now,
I don't see the most longevity. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
he's doing good right now. The next two we'll go over pretty quickly. They didn't have a lot. This episode, Red Tribe was unfortunately the Purple Tribe this episode, so we didn't get a lot. And we'll start with J Maya, who I originally had lower, but I reconsidered her confessional and her kind of introduction, her narration, and I liked it enough to where I was putting it in a place where now I'm kind of in the middle about her. There wasn't enough. It wasn't a premiere where we really got to see who J Maya was, because she's a singer. She does all the things. Like, she was prominent this season. They'd show her, right?
Yeah.
So I'm worried about that. But the stuff we did get was good, and I can't fault her for that. So I like her at 11. But Will dissents. So please, Will.
The only problem is that I feel like we're getting loud personalities here. I feel like I look, and we have standout personalities. You know, I feel like Drew isn't loud, but he's a standout personality. I feel like D is that firecracker that she talked about earlier. Bruce is the let's go, hype man. And so when we have a quiet personality like this, it can mean one of two things, right? One, she's on the Red Tribe and going to get a similar edit to Erica, in which case I'll be very wrong. Or she is just kind of swept under the radar and hasn't made a big impact. And it's hard for me to say which one. Right now, it's kind of why I kind of just like other people's odds a lot more than J Maya right now. And that's all it is. Right now she's low. However, I feel like she's likable, like what Jay is saying. And so I could change her. I don't know how to feel about J Maya right now. She's the only real question mark for me outside of the next person. And so I might change my tune entirely, next week, where suddenly J Maya is now like number 5. I don't know.
We really don't know. We also don't know where real, genuine, in the limelight personality is. We saw with Claire back last season, she was pretty under the radar, but we saw hints. We saw little cracks forming in the edit. And then third episode, bang, the
Yeah.
shot blows off and Claire goes over the top. Could very easily happen with J Maya as well because we don't know. And that's a common trope with unfortunately, a lot of women in this new era, especially with pre-mergers.
Yeah.
Just get nothing until everything. So we'll see.
They're challenge liability, guys. I'm sorry, I don't know. They're a social player, guys. Give me a break.
Speaking of, Julie was the other unfortunate kind of edit snub from tonight, besides another person we'll get to a little down the line. I was really excited for Julie. I loved her intro in the trailer for this season. This is her second chance on life going out on Survivor. I thought that's cool. When you don't get that in the premiere and you get that in the trailer, you kind of know. It's like a pretty easy Survivor feeling where it's like, oh, so Julie's not going to do that hot, is she? Like, you got to get that right in the premiere. If Julie's important to this season, you got to say, bang, that's where it is. You got to leave it there. That's a great storyline to have. We didn't get that. And so that makes me put her very, very low. I'm not high on her chances. Again, I was really, really pumped up from that trailer to see her play. I feel like we were getting, second coming of Kathy Vavrick O'Brien back from Marquesas. A man could dream. It still could happen, but just from this premiere, I'll say.
The only thing I can say about Julie and J Maya, and I feel like their path of winning right now is being a quiet voice on the winning tribe, and then all heck breaks loose at the merge, where suddenly random shots are fired and there's a lot of chaotic gameplay, and we see them and how they navigate through this a lot better. That's kind of why I have Julie at 14, because there's still hope for Julie. I feel like she can navigate her way through the game still. I will say the people I have below, I'm not really high on at all.
The person you have below.
I'm just saying everyone under position 14,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I'm not high on
person I have below.
Person we have below. We agree on this one, Jack.
Now we're getting into the crazy people.
Yeah, same tribe.
There's a crazy tribe, but there's still another crazy person, and that's Sifu. This is a very. I'm not like Sifu said. Sifu was trying to be Tony Vlachos. Easy as that. This is the problem with idolizing certain players, because there's the idolizing certain players and their takes on the strategy, where you take some of the elements of their strategy and kind of weave it into your game, the more lesser known kind of stuff, right? The more kind of weaving through Little Michelle, little underrated strategies, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the other side of the coin, which is, okay, so the big picture stuff, I'm going to take that and just do it again. And so I'm going to run around the jungle fighting idols. I'm going to make spy shacks, spy nests, spy bunkers. I'm going to be an absolute madman and try and make big moves.
Yeah.
That's what you shouldn't do. And that's exactly what Sifu did this episode.
The problem is that at least Tony gave us a reason why. Tony, he wanted to hear about his old allies after a major blindside, so he did want to spy on them. That makes sense, right? That is, it's crazy, it is insane, but there's logic behind it. Sifu just wanted to become Tony Vlachos. And Jay, I disagree. Sifu is not Tony 2.0, because we also had War Dog, we had Joe Mina, and we had Tony again, and then again. So Sifu is Tony 7.0 right now. And he's having fun. I will say that. He's having fun with himself. However, I just don't see him doing well, because there's no rhyme or reason to his actions. It is just, I want to be Tony Vlachos, but I don't want to be the strategy of Tony Vlachos. I just want to be insane.
Yeah. Everybody wants to idolize the GOAT, like the male go to Survivor. I get that. I'm sure everybody who watches like wants to play like a little bit like that. But you can't do it in a way where it's unreasonable. And I think Seafood definitely did it in a way where he's just trying to have fun, but I don't think he's going far. Do you think he'll be voted out directly to his antics? Yeah. I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
The only reason why is because he's a big guy and he can help in challenges. I think, the pre-merge, maybe. There's a chance, right? Merge on, I think the chances of him getting voted out just skyrocket. But at least he has a case pre-merge.
I think he's 100% very easy late pre-merge, early merge boot. Like I think he's right around that 13th, 14th, 12th kind of area. I think that's very, very reasonable to say. We'll see how it goes. And now we get to the tribe.
My favorite tribe.
My favorite tribe ever. Just kidding. I have other favorite tribes. Or do I?
Yeah.
We're going to start with Brandon. Here's the thing, guys. Brandon had a pretty mixed. Oh my god.
No, let's be real here.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. It was horrible. Like I'm sure Brandon is. Brandon's great, and I think he did pretty well in an online game. But this was atrocious. One of the worst premieres I've probably ever seen from an individual player.
Yeah.
Just bad.
Yeah.
Flopped horribly in the marooning, horribly in the first challenge, and lost basically his number one to quitting, and also ill and medically not doing good. So you think, okay, maybe this is a turnaround kind of edit. Maybe this is like Kathy Vavrick O'Brien started off. Maybe this is like Aubrey Bracco. I've seen a lot of that as well. You turn it right around. You start horribly, but you build it back. I wholeheartedly disagree. And if Brandon does not go home on Wednesday, I will be floored. Call my bluff. But if he doesn't go home on Wednesday night at around 9:27 Eastern time, I will throw a fit because it's ridiculous how he's still in the game. There's no way. There's no way.
Jay, I disagree with the Matt chat because
I disagree.
It's random where it's like he's just standing there chilling, with Hannah Rose, and then Jeff Probst was like, "Hey, guy with the curly hair, how are you?" But like Brandon went on the boat and just started sobbing, and I feel like I get it. You're on your dream, you're living your dream, you're on the boat next to Jeff Probst, he's just standing there. But you have to have some control over your emotions. You have to have some control because imagine you're in the game, right? And you have to trust this guy who can't even get on the boat for marooning without crying, having to blindside someone, having to, play cutthroat. Brandon does not have that. Brandon, like, he seems like he'd be decent at challenges too. Like, he's not like athletic like Seafood, but like he's built kind of, and like he's flopping with that. And he loses number one ally, and like I just do not see the Aubrey turnaround. I could be wrong. We could be very wrong right now.
I think you're absolutely right. I think he got put in two categories the minute he was on screen. He is either Jacob Derwin or he's Aubrey Bracco, and there's no in between. He will either get flamed out and will be voted out next episode, or somehow the next episode. Or he makes it very, very deep, has a turnaround trajectory, and plays a great game, and maybe wins. I definitely think the former. I definitely think he's getting voted out.
I will say, and Jack, I think you know where I'm heading with this. There is a debate to be had, right? I talked about this before when we finished the episode. It is with another player too, so we can also get to Emily. But who do you?
Let's go and dump the cold water.
And this is to the chat as well. In an FTC, or who do you think has the better chance to win in front of a jury, Brandon or Emily? Because I feel like Emily has no chance in front of a jury. Right?
No chance.
She has a better shot at making it to the jury. Brandon, I do not see him making it post-merge. However, he seems sociable enough and likable enough. And, we kind of saw him, pumping up Hannah that one time. And maybe he could have that underdog Aubrey Bracco storyline. But the odds of him making it to Final Tribal Council is so much lower. And so it's weird, right? But you have Emily at 13. I want to hear why.
Honestly. Yeah. First of all, I'm going to bring back to this point. A lot of people will say Edgic is broken. Edgic is broken. But production has noticed. Mat chats. Past 4 seasons, whoever had a mat chat, probably going to win the game. Erica had a mat chat. Marianne had a mat chat. Gabler had a mat chat. Jams had a mat chat. The 3 people that got a mat chat were Brandon, Emily, and Bruce. Do we think any of them are going to win?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it was all circumstantial, right? Because Brandon, he started crying. Bruce, he was the only returnee, so obviously. And then Emily interjected herself, right?
Yep.
And so I do not see. I feel like the match had ended, right? It was a good era, good streak, whatever,
Hoorah, hoorah.
Hoorah,
It's
hoorah.
done.
I'm kind of glad it's done because I want to be able to root for people and have a nerd on Reddit be like, oh, they weren't on the match chat. So, no.
Yeah, I don't want to see those nerds on Reddit say, oh, but Emily and Bruce were on the match chat, so I have to win at this point. No. There's no way that any of these players, they're probably not going to win. We'll see, but probably not going to win. So we can rule out, hopefully, the match chat. If somehow Brandon, Emily, Bruce, and I've seen some people include Sifu, so whatever, we'll throw them in there. If one of them wins, then I think Edgic is broken, Jay. Yeah. I think you're right. Because the only thing that matters is match chats. Nothing else matters. You can never watch the whole entire season. If there's 4 people talking on the match chat, those are the only 4 contenders you ever need. You don't have to talk about anybody else. It's just those 4. Yep. Done. Well, let's get to Emily. Why do I have her so high? Yeah. I'm playing the middle right now. Emily, everyone believes she's either going home next or she's going to win the game. And we saw this with Pia Miranda in Australian Survivor 6, Champs versus Contenders 2. Pia Miranda's very first confessional, or one of her first, was if I'm not the first boot, I'm the winner. Or Australian accent. Yeah. If I'm not the first boot, I'm the winner. She won the game, clearly. So her confessional was great foreshadowing. I don't think just because that's said in a confessional means Emily's going to win the game. I don't. And so that's why I have her lower than like middle of the pack. But at the same time, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt because while Emily had a god-awful premiere on paper, it wasn't bad. It wasn't that horrible. I know, tough opinion. It wasn't that horrible. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
I mean, yeah, 2 other players had a worse premiere, being Brandon and Hannah. But my biggest concern with Emily is that she cannot adapt, right? She sticks out like a sore thumb, and she's beating herself up after hanging out with her tribe who are nonsensical and weird. And like I said earlier, had Hannah not quit, Emily would be the first boot of Survivor 45. I feel like Emily is going to get kind of the inverse Josh almost from 44, where Josh got no screen time whatsoever, became a massive villain out of nowhere, and then like hung around for a long while. I feel like we're going to see a lot of Emily for a bit. And I just don't, because again, I feel like production is aware, editors are aware. Like with the Matt chat, I feel like they're now prone to throw out more red herrings, right? Again, we have every season now, we have that front runner who makes it to 4th or 5th and gets voted out, right? We had Ricard, and if you want to count Xander, you can count Xander if you want. Who cares? We had Omer, we had Jesse, and Cody, and Carla. And last season we had Carson. I feel like I feel like there's enough red herrings now in Survivor editing to where they'll throw a confessional like this, right? Because it's kind of like Richard Hatch, season 1, where he gave the "I'm the winner," right? And so now everyone's always looking out for that, and so production's gonna be like, "Hey, here's that confessional," but psych, they get blurted out. And
Yeah.
I just do not see her winning, point blank.
Yeah. We could very easily be being Gablered here, but this is the thing. We could very easily get Gablered, get trolled. She's gonna win. Could very easily happen. I'm gonna watch out for it, and I think everybody else should as well, because we don't want to get fooled like we did in 43. That sucked, and we got the rug pulled out from under us. So I think a lot of people post Gabler are recognizing that something like this could happen. And so they're watchful. And I think that's good. I think we watch, we wait to see. We don't have to jump the gun and chase who's the winner right away. We have time.
Yeah.
There's an edit that's building. Right now, she's doing pretty bad, but she may be doing good soon. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Caleb. You'd think Caleb is in the best spot on that tribe. You think Caleb is in a it's so I don't know. This is the tough one. This was the toughest one for me to pick because you think he's good, and then you realize that he's on a tribe of absolute lunatics, and he may get voted out at any point. So it's really, really tough with Caleb, and I think on any other tribe, he's making merge, he's going far, he's doing fine. Like, this tribe, I don't know. Like, he could go home next episode, guys. Like, I have no idea.
Hey, you want the real crackpot theory? I feel like
Go ahead.
I feel like he was supposed to be on Drew's tribe, but then Survivor was like, nah, let's just screw over Caleb real quick and just put him on a tribe with buffoons, lunatics. Like, he seems like a normal person, and that is his problem. But like, not normal enough, because there's one player I think people are sleeping on, and we'll get to him last. I have him higher than some, but we'll get to him later. He's hard to rank. Him and J Maya and Julie, I think, were the hardest ones to rank.
Yeah, but I mean, Caleb, like, it's so tough with him. Like, we truly, like, he's I agree with this. The fifth least big personality on his tribe. Like,
yeah,
the least we'll get to. But like, it's so this is challenging. You know, with other people, you're like, all right, they got cookie cutter good. Other people are like, they got cookie cutter bad. Other people didn't get edited at all. And some people, you can kind of fit in the mold. With Caleb, it's so mixed and at the same time so not mixed that I have no idea. And I just threw him at 12 because I honestly I gave up. I gave up. I had no idea. Do I think he's going to win? Hell no. No one from that tribe, to make it very clear, no one from this tribe will win this game unless, God forsaken, it's Emily somehow. I don't think anyone from this tribe is winning the game, except for maybe Emily.
Or Brandon has that Aubrey Bracco.
No, he's going home. He's going home on Wednesday. Whoever drafted him from the Survivor Now team, you're done for.
That's not me. I'm
glad it's not me either. But yeah, so
we'll get to Sabaya.
Let's get to her now. Sabaya was also hard to rank. I ranked her a little higher though. She wasn't targeted out of her and Caleb, which makes me put her in the higher tier. Still very unclear. I want to see how she does. And she was funny this episode. I laughed at some of her moments. She's a very good character. This is another we'll see. Good premiere on paper. We'll get to the rating soon, but it's a matter of can she survive the shit show? Like, can she survive just the hand-picked? I'm gonna stand.
Stand up.
I will firmly stand on this hill right
I
now,
really hope you fall.
and I will say that this tribe was intentionally picked
Yeah.
to be one of the worst tribes ever. Intentionally, 100% production knew this tribe was going to suck, and they didn't care. This is 41. Ua, I think is the name. Yeah.
I think Ika from 42 was designed to flop as well. There's some speculation there.
Yeah. You're talking
Luzon,
Matt Singh, Luzon, like some of the most horrendous tribes in history. This tribe was handpicked to be that tribe. I'm a firm believer. This tribe was picked to fail, destined to fail. And so Sabaya's success and everybody else on this tribe's success is entirely dependent on can they make it out of the shit show.
Yeah.
Can they? If they can, Sabaya's got a good shot. I think she has a great shot.
I don't think Sabaya wins. I do think she is a player in this game. I think she is a pretty good narrator from what we've seen. Honestly, I'm on the Sabaya train right now. She's my episode 1. I want her to win. I want her to go far. I want more Sabaya. I like Sabaya, right? Do I think it'll happen? Maybe. I don't know though, and that's the problem. However, I have not a crackpot theory, but I also have hope for this next person we have last.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Maybe I'm coping.
I don't know why. Go ahead.
So the only reason why I think Sean has a decent chance, right, is kind of like the inverse Erica, where you have a try, or think back to Boston Frog. Think back.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Hear me out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing.
So, in the premiere of Redemption Island, Boston Rob was kind of invisible, right? And how the whole narrative was like, he stopped to listen to people and how people talk too much, right? I'm not saying he's getting that edit. What I can see potentially is he is the quiet voice of reason on a tribe of lunatics. Because as of right now, Sean is the most normal person. We see him call out, Hannah for wanting to sweep leaves, and now he's like, hey, we need to get our shelter. What are these people doing? But not in the way that Hannah's doing. Or, not Hannah, Emily. I think Sean either goes pre-merge or makes it relatively far in this game. Maybe I'm coping. Maybe I'm just hoping because he's my other draft. I don't think he is as bad of a position as Caleb, as Emily, or as Brandon. That's what I'll say. I think Sabaya is the best player so far.
Yeah, I think Sean's playing good. I think he's definitely the voice of reason on that tribe, and I think he's definitely the person like everybody's got to watch out for on that tribe. He's very under the radar. That being said, he's not winning this game at all. I wholeheartedly disagree. Sean will not win this game. L, your pick sucks. Pick sucks. Take the L. Look, Sean is Genie from 41. I'm going to say it right now. Sean is under-edited and goes out pre-merge. I feel it. If it doesn't happen, you can call my bluff and say I was wrong, and I will admit that I was wrong. Yeah, I know. Crazy. But he's Genie from 41. I just don't see it. I don't see him. I think he is. But, this is why now we have discourse.
See, this is why I wanted to have my own stock. I know Jay was asking earlier about the difference. We're going to see the average rank down, and then once we do the graphs, it's hard to do graphs with one episode. Then you'll see Jack, you'll see my line, and the average, and we can go back and forth, and you can kind of be like, hey, I agree with Will on some picks, but Jack on others. I'm not saying he's making it far 100%. I'm saying there is a chance he can. I'm just saying, he's the voice of reason. He's on a very chaotic tribe, and it might be best for him to sit back and just listen, not add fuel to the fire, and just see how everyone else is flopping and how he can learn from that. And I think if he gets a really good episode 2, kind of similar to Boston Rob, and how not the player, but like just the storyline, how he's edited.
Can
you at least see where I'm coming from?
Yeah. This season is Redemption Island 2. Mark it down.
I'm not saying that. You're using
I think you're getting crackpot theory. I think Will's off his rocker. I think you should be replaced. I think you're done. Time out. Time for you to go.
Replace me with Phil.
Phil's great. Phil's awesome. All right.
Love you, Phil.
Quick hits. Here we go. This is the part you want. This is your fantasy. Yeah. Here's the buys. Here's the sells, baby. Here's the why do you have it. Katura is the only plus. Cookie cutter premiere. What else do you want? Bam. Buy it. Now.
She's doing good for a bit.
Yep. Cool. Drew, D, Kelly, Kendra, and Austin. They did great as well. I say buy. The only one I would be hesitant on is Drew, just because of longevity. Just be careful with that, but still, go ahead, gun it.
But
Sabaya, Brando, and Bruce. Buy. Bruce is a little lenient. Maybe you could stay. That's fine. But just because of the fact that he's got that veteran status, buy it. Just buy like 1 or 2. Trust in that. Yeah. Jake, J. Maya, and Caleb. If you have them, cool. If you don't, cool. Just chill out. Jake's kind of we'll see how it goes. J. Maya, see how it goes. Caleb, we'll see how it goes. That's how it is. Sean and Julie are negatives. Sean is definitely my call on this, but when you're on the most chaotic, one of the most chaotic tribes ever, and you don't get edited, come on.
You remember what happened with Bitcoin though? Remember how bad Bitcoin was? Sean is Bitcoin, man. I'm telling you.
Sean is Bitcoin. All right.
No, I agree with Jack though. He's my, Sean is Bitcoin. Sean is my crackpot theory. That doesn't mean everyone should go out and buy Sean stock. Let me blunder with this one. I'm agreeing with you, Jack. Why are you looking at me like I'm insane? Let me buy my own stock, and you can buy your whatever Emily stock.
We got to disagree heavily on something. We got to keep the show interesting.
True.
And Julie and Sifu are also sells. Julie just underedited. Sifu too much. Emily is the worst. Really bad. Sell. Don't trust it. Could go home next. You never know. Could also do really well. But for now, it's very safe to just sell it and wait. Just hold on it. And then if you have Brandon, you're delusional. I'm sorry. If you have stock of that, you're delusional. I don't buy into this Abu Bracco BS. I think he's going home next episode. Lock it down. See you, Brandon.
Let me say something about Brandon real quick.
Go ahead.
If Brandon wins the season, then he would need some great, crazy comeback arc. And I feel like Jeff Probst would hype the season up a lot more if he had a similar narrative. Because Jeff Probst, I don't remember him saying anything about how great the season is. Now,
he said it was good, not great.
Last season, he hyped it up. He was like, this is a great season, best of the new era. But he didn't say about this. What that could mean is that we get a winner that Jeff doesn't like. Or something happened. Maybe he's just mad about Hannah quitting.
Maybe he's mad about the quit. And that's it.
And that could devalue the season. Maybe we have like a medical thing, or whatever, or maybe Brandon quits, or gets pulled, or like having like, or maybe having a Hannah-esque quit where he's like, oh no, I'm getting voted out. I don't care. Maybe, but that's something I wanted to mention and I forgot to earlier. But real quick, Jack, how'd you think about the episode? We didn't ask that earlier. Did you like the episode? Did you hate it? I know you hated it at first, but then you kind of
it warmed on me. I thought this episode overall was good. I think a lot of people are very reactionary towards the end of the episode. I get it. It's a quit. Very bad quit, admittedly. I get it. If you're mad, don't blame you. At the same time, I think this was a really, really great premiere. We got a really, really balanced edit. We got a lot of people who had a great showing. We got to see a lot of character. And I think, I'm hoping, in my opinion, Jeff believes this is a good season, not great. I'm hoping it's just because of this one blip of the quit. Because beyond that, this season, if the quit didn't happen, Hannah just got voted out normally. This season's got it. Like, this season's got the makings to be a pretty good season by its past 44. You have a Chaos Tribe. You have Bruce coming back. I agree with Jay. Shout out to the editing team. They killed it.
They did.
And I think a lot of people, like, and this is another small point, but a lot of people are really happy that there wasn't any forced intros about a sob story. People really appreciate that. Like, the authenticity with Drew and him just coming across in confessional and saying that's all you need. I mean, an emotional backstory is okay at times if it's warranted. You can't just be like, so we just voted out Sifu, right? Like, we just voted out Sifu, and it was hard, and it reminds me of my dog running away when I was 5. Like, I don't know. Like, you get what I mean, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's better and more extravagant at the end of the season. I feel like if we didn't hear about Jesse's backstory until like final 8, and then he revealed, or final 6, right? And then
that would have hit so much more.
It would hit so hard, and then he votes out Cody. That would be like all-time great episode. I could be lying. I don't know, but like I think, agree. And I feel like we could get more backstories. But I want a reason to care about these players as players, and then care about them as people or as characters or as whatever, because if I see like Sean opening up the season, he's like, all my family members died, and I went through a lot, battled the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. Now I'm here. I'm like, that's sad, but like I don't have a connection. Maybe I'm just lucky.
Exactly. I don't want to see someone be like, so back in the Spanish Civil War, I fought the conquistadors, and then my goldfish died, and I'm on the show for my goldfish Rocky because he liked rocks, and I want to win $1 million so I can resurrect him from the dead. I don't know. Just don't force us. Give it to us naturally. Idea, example, someone is isolated from the tribe, they feel alone, and they're like, this brings up a lot from my childhood. I was very isolated. I didn't have a lot of friends. People didn't really like me. Will, you're foaming at the mouth. Please go ahead.
I just thought of the perfect example for this, right?
Please, enlighten me, adore me.
Russell, Philippines, that backstory on his vote out episode is what we're talking about to a T. He didn't start the season with it, but like we get the episode where he's like, I don't want to quit. I just thought of that. I'm amazing. I'm that guy. Sean is still Boston Rob.
Okay, this is not your platform. You can't just throw out all your points. Sean is Boston Rob. Emily's going home.
Hannah's winning.
Kelly's gonna win. All right.
Reasonable. Anywho.
Yeah, whatever. Edric, I have Katura, Drew, D, and Kendra. from the rankings. Anything you notice from this? Anything you like, dislike?
No, I pretty much agree with all of it. The contenders, that's pretty much just the top 4 of our rankings or of your rankings. Our rankings are pretty much the same. So
Pretty much for the top, yeah.
for the top, I mean, again, there's not a lot of differences except for Sean, really, and Emily. Again, just look at the Yellow Tribe, and we just have a bunch of negativity, and the only 2 positives are Sabaya and Caleb, and that's bad news bears for them.
It is bad news bears.
I feel like Brandon is more negative. I don't know. I can see the mixed.
I give him the mixed. I think I give him the mixed because he is a super fan. He's super happy to be on the show. He gets some positivity towards the end. People don't want to get rid of him. So I think he warrants a little bit of positivity, but I can very easily see negative, and I wouldn't argue with it personally. So, y'all, it's gonna do it.
Yeah, that's the StockWatch.
First episode. That's the thing. That's the stock.
Buy our stock.
Yeah. Will, any closing thoughts as we round up our first episode? Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay.
Hi. Thank you, Jay, and everyone watching. I want to announce that we might have a Survivor Now guest, not any alumni, but a certain person who was supposed to be with us today, but couldn't be. No, I'm really excited to be working with this, and also the episodes are going to be long for a little bit. It's just the nature of having to go through 18 people, 17 people, and also having interjections now. But I'm really excited.
It is going to be a good season. Hope y'all like the new format. We like a little dissenting opinions this time. It wasn't just me feeding my opinion through the funnel here. We actually have some quarrels now. But yeah, Big Brother tomorrow. Crazy episode. Yep. Watch for sure. Watch our recap of that. Survivor 45. Yep. Survivor 45. Second episode Wednesday. Brand's going home. If he doesn't, I will shoot myself with the foot on live camera.
Sure.
Yep. And then Thursday night, Big Brother again. Eviction. It's going to be good. So,
Yes, sir.
All right. Will.
Jack.
This has been the stocks.
This has been the stock.
This has been.
Wolf of Wall Street wishes they were us right now. All the people in New York right now, they have nothing on us.
We'll see you guys next time.